Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Bliss and Mischief podcast. I'm your host, Amy. Today, we are diving into one of life's most challenging acts of love. How do you show up for friends and loved ones when they are facing some major life mischief, whether it's career stress, heartbreak, or a family crisis, without taking on all of their pain yourself? We're going to talk about how to be truly helpful, how to set healthy boundaries, and how to make sure you don't get lost in their chaos. I'm going to share with you why empathy is holding you back from truly being helpful to those you love and how it is actually causing you more harm than you may realize. We are by nature feeling people. And when we see our friends and family in pain, we tend to try to put ourselves in their shoes so that we can better understand how to help them. The thing is, when we willingly place ourselves in the mess with them instead of choosing to be there for them, we end up turning ourselves into a victim of their circumstances. It's time to shed the crushing weight of feeling everyone else's pain and instead become the most genuinely helpful, steadfast, and sanity preserving person in your friend group and family circle, all without needing a 3-week recovery nap afterward. Unfortunately, the belief that empathy is the best way to help your loved ones has been the go to action for so long that it's really hard to break the habit. We think that if we're not empathetic, we're not caring. And the crazy part is, empathy is actually the thing that stops us from being truly helpful and drains us in ways that we may not even recognize. Empathy, bless its heart, means well, but trying to put yourself in the other person's situation is like willingly choosing to jump into the pit of despair with them. And while that intention is incredibly sweet, it's also the quickest path to disaster. Think about it. If your friend is stuck in the mud and you jump in the mud with them, all you have now is two people stuck in the mud. And that means that your good intentioned rescue party just turned into a slightly more crowded pity party. It's time to forget everything you thought you knew, because I'm here to share the powerful truth about sympathy. And I'm going to explain how this is actually the kindest, most effective, and compassionate way to show up for the people that we love. You see, sympathy is the key, and it's not complicated. It's just you saying, hey, I see your struggle, I love you, and I'm here for you when you need me. If you can do all this while keeping your own feet planted firmly on solid ground next to them, you retain the capacity to be their anchor. You can stay deeply connected to their well being and keep your own emotions in check, ensuring that when they're ready, you can lower down the rescue ladder and help them out. We're going to explore why trying to feel exactly what someone else feels is basically impossible, and why stepping back from that emotional overload is not an act of coldness, but truly the only way to be helpful. I mean, if you're stuck in a building on fire, you don't want the firefighter who collapses in tears at the sight of the smoke. You want the one with the steady breathing who knows where the exit is. And then, just to be sure you're armed for your next crisis, I'll give you a simple practical tool I call the compassion boundary to help you be supportive of everyone you love without becoming overwhelmed with emotional exhaustion. So let's start with why sympathy is secretly our new superpower. The idea that we must feel what others feel to be supportive is not just inefficient, it actually causes real unintentional damage, not just to our own sanity, but ultimately to the very people we're trying to lift up. So I'm going to pause here for a moment and clear the air around empathy because this confusion is the root of the problem. What happens when we stop believing the narrative we've been conditioned to accept since childhood? The one that says that we must deeply feel another person's suffering in order to be truly compassionate. What if instead that we recognize this so called gold standard of caring is actually the quickest path to depletion and burnout? It is time to let go of the thought that empathy in this form is the ultimate goal. Empathy means feeling into. It is that intense, exhausting effort to fully step into someone else's precise emotional life. The reality is, this is fundamentally impossible. You might as well try to walk into their house using your own front door key. You can be standing right outside, you can see in the windows, but you don't have the specific key to get into their exact internal world. You can absolutely observe and understand the emotion they feel, but you can never truly feel exactly what someone else feels because you're not them. You don't have their personal history, their trauma, their specific current stress levels, or their unique and wonderful complicated brain chemistry. When you lean into empathy over sympathy, you're not actually helping the other person climb out. You're simply jumping into the emotional distress with them, risking your own stability. And if you've done that, congratulations. You've just created a situation where you have two people stuck in emotional trouble. Only now there's nobody left standing outside with the clarity, the resources, or the energy to throw down the rescue ladder. You've become a part of the problem. And I know that this is absolutely not the goal. And here's where the mischief of today's episode comes in. This incredibly strong yet completely unsustainable effort to be empathetic leads directly to compassion fatigue. Think about your energy reserves like a bucket of clean water or maybe a sponge. When you emotionally take on someone else's pain, when you absorb their despair, their anger, their anxiety, or their confusion as if it were your own, it's like you're soaking up everything they're feeling, not just understanding it. And soon you're not damp, you're sloshing, and you have no capacity left for yourself. And the only way to squeeze out their misery is to completely wring yourself dry. The real, lasting, and more sustainable way to show up for others is through sympathy. Sympathy isn't about diving into their storm, it's about standing on the shore, steady and ready to throw down a lifeline. Sympathy means feeling with. It is kind, compassionate, and deeply supportive, but it requires you to maintain a healthy distance from their immediate emotional current. You stand at the edge of the hole, you see their pain clearly, accept it with grace, and then you focus your strong, steady energy on helping them find a way to climb out. Sympathy is an act of true emotional intelligence because you're not drowning in their feelings. It's the calm internal dialogue that says, I see your struggle, I care about you deeply, and I am making the choice to stay calm and grounded so that I can figure out how to actually help you. When we understand this, we realize that keeping our emotional distance is not a sign of being uncaring. It is necessary for real compassion and lasting helpfulness because it allows us to share our wisdom, clear thinking, and full undepleted energy, offering genuine help. The ultimate bliss shift here is realizing that your job is to be the steady support or the calm harbor, not another person collapsing dramatically in the storm. All right. Now, I am going to challenge you to make a crucial change in how you think about emotional support. This is the big pivot. Your job is not to feel someone else's pain. Your job is to hold the light. And the only way to reliably hold that light without burning out and leaving everyone in the dark is by using what I call the compassion boundary. I want you to think of it like your personal emotional force field. It's a simple, conscious way to check yourself the moment you're feeling that dangerous emotional pull, that heavy, tricky undertow that tries to drag you feet first into the other person's struggle. It helps you stay grounded, strong, and yes, actually helpful. Here's how you use the compassion boundary in the moment with 3 quick steps. It's like a little emotional self defense routine. Step 1 is the internal check. Name the feeling and keep your space. When someone shares something heavy and you feel that familiar, urgent inner shift, the emotional tightness, or the sudden, overwhelming urge to cry along with them, I want you to stop. Don't let your brain run off with their suffering. Then, I want you to mentally or physically take a deep, steadying breath. Now, you simply name the emotion and remind yourself this is their feeling, not mine. I am present, I care deeply, and I am staying stable so I can be their anchor. This is an essential act of separation because it removes their genuine, valid emotion from your perceived draining need to absorb it entirely. You are accepting their truth while firmly maintaining your own necessary space. You are the rock, not the wave. Step 2 is the external anchor. And this is where you're going to use a sympathy statement. So instead of falling into the empathy trap by trying to say, I know exactly how you feel, which, let's be honest, is well meaning but usually not helpful, use a powerful anchored sympathetic statement instead. The statement is kind, validating, and keeps you tethered to the ground so you don't float off into their emotional chaos. And here are 3 examples to get you started. 1, that sounds incredibly painful. I am so deeply sorry you are going through this. 2. I can only imagine how difficult that must be, and I want you to know that I'm here to support you in whatever way you need. Or 3. Thank you for trusting me with this. That sounds truly overwhelming. I'm not going to pretend I know exactly how you feel right now, but I'm here for you. Tell me what kind of help you need, even if it's just a distraction. These phrases validate them without requiring you to download their pain. You are offering deep care without suffering alongside them. This is the difference between being helpful and becoming a casualty. Finally, step 3 is the action pivot. You shift from feeling to resource. This is your final step. And this is where you need to internally ask yourself, what do they need from me right now? And how can I help without taking on their problem or emotion? You are intentionally changing your focus from desperately trying to feel their despair to being a stable, available resource for their problem. Maybe they need you to listen quietly for 5 more minutes, letting them vent without any interruption. Maybe they need objective help with a concrete task like looking up a specific resource, ordering dinner, or making a difficult phone call. Maybe they just need a quiet hug without advice, followed by a distracting, cheerful suggestion for a movie or going out to grab a bite to eat. By making this pivot, you'll take back your energy and move from being lost in their emotions to being a genuine, reliable source of strength. When you consistently practice the compassion boundary, you realize that it's the smartest choice you can make for your long term emotional health and your capacity to be a truly present, rock solid support system for others. This is how you refuse to let the impossible ideal of emotional overload destroy your marvelous capacity to care. So there it is. We just broke down one of the most exhausting myths silently running our lives. Now you know the difference between empathy and sympathy, and having that knowledge is true power. The mischief is the pressure that demands you prove you care by emotionally wearing yourself out through unfiltered empathy. It's the feeling that you failed your friend if you didn't cry along with them. Like it's a violation of the rule. If you truly cared, you'd feel it too. The truth is the quiet confidence you get when you set a compassionate boundary. You realize that to give the best help, you need to be strong yourself. You help from a place of strength, not from a place of matching their pain. When that emotional undertow pulls you in and you feel the urge to cave, work on choosing sympathy over empathy. You are not refusing to care, you are steadying your anchor. You are simply making sure that you remain the rock that they can hold on to, rather than becoming another person swept away by the storm. Remember this fundamental equation. And please write it on your hand, your mirror, or even make it a screensaver on your phone. By trying to perfectly mirror everyone else's emotions, you will guarantee burnout. The key is knowing you have limits. Treat your energy like the finite resource it is, and you'll have the compassion and the space to offer real, practical help. Remember, you are a resource, not a sponge. Now, before we transition into this week's challenge, I want to take a quiet moment to anchor the powerful energy we've created today and commit ourselves to these new, liberating emotional boundaries. Take a deep, centering breath with me and simply accept the following blessing. May you speak your truth with assertiveness, grace, and courage. May you be deeply rooted in the wisdom of your ancestors, guides, and angels. May you clearly see the path before you, and as new challenges arise, may you learn all lessons through love and compassion. May you be intuitively connected to your higher self, and may it pull you forward in times of question. May you be divinely connected to the infinite, universal energy of all that is love, God, Source, the divine, whatever term resonates most with your soul. May it protect and strengthen you and bring you immense love, abundance, and joy. Feel this powerful connection and stay grounded in the fact that taking care of your emotional health is absolutely required for you to truly care for others. It's not selfish, it's a necessity. Your challenge this week is focused on practicing sympathy in action. I want you to actively identify one conversation this week where someone shares something difficult with you. When they finish, I want you to actively pause, take a deep, grounding breath, and silently engage your compassion boundary. Do not immediately rush to respond or try to take on their pain. Just be still for a moment. Instead, I want you to use one of the sympathy statements we discuss, like, that sounds incredibly painful. I'm so sorry you are going through this. Use the phrase, use the pause and the statement to actively take back your emotional space. This isn't coldness, this is strategy. This is taking your power back from the idea of mandatory emotional overload and turning yourself into the helpful friend you always wanted to be. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. This work is powerful, and I am truly proud of you for showing up. If this episode helped you draw a clear, liberating line between sympathy and emotional burnout, please hit subscribe and share it with a friend who is constantly exhausted from feeling into everyone else's problems. Next week, we are confronting something that many of us feel but can't quite articulate: the overstuffed mental backpack filled with shadow responsibilities. Join me as we explore the true mental weight of the invisible load and learn how to reduce it. So until next time, let your wisdom be your guide, and may you find your bliss, Jiff.